people who know me, it's like, people who don't do drugs and people are like, you don't need drugs. That's how I am with sports. People are like, you don't need sports.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So that is so interesting. I just assume everybody just like a sports fanatic, but okay.
I mean, for me, it's just like, it's actually, I mean, it's interesting having interviewed so many, a lot, obviously we know that a lot of hip hop artists are into sports, and certainly, I've done like a books for Wu-Tang, and I've had to, I mean, listen, I say it's a humble brag, it's an honor, but I've actually had to sit there and like wait for Ghostface to finish watching a game before he give me a 5-minute interview, that kind of thing. But the truth is that there are also a lot of people I have found in the music world who are similar. Not like, they're not like sports haters like I am sometimes. They're just kind of like, they know all about something else. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I don't even try to step into the sports territory. I just like, like sometimes, like especially with the battles, I'm like, all right, okay, you think they're good? Okay, perfect. All right, cool. But no, I want to bring it back in. I had did an intro. I think, I don't know if I DM'd you this, but like my original major, let me get to the point. I always wanted to be a journalist. I always wanted to cover stories. I always wanted to just be local. You get to college and they're like, oh, no, that's not what you should be doing. So I was like, all right, now I'm a criminal justice major. So then that went that way. But I always have respect for journalists, just as people just taking their time to sit and to wait 5 minutes. People don't get that piece. Sometimes it could be an hour. Sometimes you're waiting an entire show just for a 2-second, like, all right, like, little write up, and then you have to make something out of it. So this is wraps up to say thank you for the work that you're doing. I was introduced to you by local artists in the city because they're like, dig Boston, or da 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 da. And I'm like, I seen it around, but I'm like, let me look more deeper. And then I'm just like, no, this person actually like cares about what's happening in the city and beyond too. I say city and beyond because that means stuff could be happening in the world and you cover it, but I'm just grateful for folks like you because there's not too many. And then the ones that are in Boston, like we just, we're I'm saying work, I'm like, as artists, like we're pulled so thin trying to support everybody of like that. Nobody sees that. Like there's only one person or, like a team of 10 and there's 1,000 people emailing you a day.
No, totally.
Right.
I see, but the stuff that you're doing, the stuff that Museum TV is doing, I mean, just like kind of like, this exposure, I think when people see your enthusiasm for it, see my enthusiasm for it, it's like, it's not a joke. It's not some stunt that I'm pretending to like local stuff. I mean, when you look at my Spotify playlist at the end of last year, I always post the my results as a listener because it's funny because it's all hip hop. So it's like this kind of hip hop that you've listened to 5 kinds of music, underground hip hop, Boston hip hop, but like literally like my second biggest category I think last year was Boston hip hop, and I think that's important. It's not like I'm out here having to argue this city's better than that city, but I think that, listen, I've been privileged to be kind of like thrown into it. I mean, back when I was covering music, I was covering 5, 6, 7 shows a week. And that's kind of, we expect our arts reporters, our music writers, to really I hate to say expect, like we're so strict, but the people that we work with, they're as enthusiastic about it. They address it. They approach those topics the same way, say, our investigative reporters, our criminal justice reporters do, with an intensity. They know all the players, right? They know who to call.
Right.
And that's not necessarily just so we get like the exclusive. As anybody who sees the dig will see, listen, there are sites that are great at that. I'm a fan of Vanyaland myself, put out a lot of posts.
Vicky, what's up, Vicky?
Yeah, I mean, so that's something. And frankly, I wish the dig did more of that, and we have in the past, and we will be, hopefully in the future. But one thing that we do contribute, we hope to contribute to the ecosystem are like, at the very least, like really long form pieces, interviews. We feel that there is like this base of knowledge about local artists that needs to be available. Right. And I'll just give you like one example. It's like, back in the day when I was writing for the Phoenix or even the dig, I started the dig before leaving and then coming back.
I'm listening. I'm just going to tweet that we're on live.
There were artists who, say someone like Slain or Terminology, by the time they had been in the game for 5 or, especially 10 years, they'd had several profiles written of them in every paper, the Globe, Phoenix, and the Herald. And, so when it got time for them to be on a national stage, people would, those reporters and fans would want information, and they would go and look for that information, and they would find it. Now we're trying to fill a lot of those gaps, but it just doesn't exist like that. There's frankly, a lot of artists right now in Greater Boston doing things that are, bigger, so to speak, with, more people listening than has ever happened before.
Right.
And yeah, that's great. They're doing well, but they don't always have those profiles. I'll tell you that people are hungry for it. We've done profiles of people like Millie's and Cousin Stiz,
Nice.
three, even 4 years ago, deep. I'm talking 3,000, 4,000 words, where we talk to like people they grew up with and stuff like that. Those things still get 2, 3, 4,000 views a week sometimes, because there's people out there. They're like, yo, this person's dope. And they want to know about more than just
the history.
Right. They want to know the history. And I remember that, correct me. So Stiz is from what? Dorchester. Is that right? So I think that it was Rolling Stone or Billboard like a couple of years ago.
Huh.
Not like this is the end of the world, but they did the best rappers from all different cities. And Stiz was in Boston, and they said he was from Roxbury. Now, whether it was someone who was just like, he's black, he's from Boston, he must be from Roxbury. I don't know. I'm not trying to say
no. Keep talking. Right.
I'm just saying. Oh, that's another issue. But what I'm saying is that there was nowhere for them to see it. Maybe it was bad journalism. Maybe there was a place. But my point is that had there been a robust amount of journalism, so that's what we can contribute. And whether it's even someone like Joyner Lucas from Worcester, happy to say we were writing about his stuff, early on. And that's not for the props. It's just that's the way the ecosystem's supposed to work.
Right.
I'm supposed to listen to college radio, read the college papers, kind of, do our thing. So, it's we get mad when the Globe steals our stuff, but it's also like kind of cool. It's like a wink, So that's just how it is. But the problem is when there's a dearth of local journalism, stuff like that, there's chains, there's links missing in that chain. So
can I ask you, okay, so we get a little sometimes deep on the show, my co-host, do you think, you just said like the Globe kind of story stuff, do you think a lot of people are not crediting you because whatever, do you think you're getting enough? How about this? Do you think you're getting enough credit for what you're doing?
I gotta be honest here.
I don't care.
I know that a lot of people will probably try to call bullshit on this if they see me say it, because I'm out there a lot of the times screaming. There's different things of credit. First of all, with music writing and stuff, I just want to say this. I don't think that you have to give credit to the last music writer who wrote it. You know what I mean? Who discovered somewhere or whatever.
Oh,
I mean, you could. But honestly,
what do you mean by that?
If I wrote about an artist first before the Globe did, which
okay.
thousands of times.
I got you. I'm thinking you about songwriting credits. I'm like, whoa.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's your business. You'll never hear me talk about an artist's business. It's not my business.
My heart started beating. I was like, whoa. Okay.
No. If I'll talk with as far as there actually, that's another conversation, because I always find it interesting, because as authors, it's the rules are the same, but we kind of treat it differently. But anyway, that's another conversation. But anyway,
we have a part 2 to this.
yeah. Wait, where was I?
Credit.
All right, as far as yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
That was me. You said that's my fault. You said credit about.
Oh wait, yeah. So the Globe doesn't have to give us credit if we wrote about an artist first. With that said, there are other things where last week we got a document related to the vaccine system, and it was nice that some people did, when they used that document on the news side, they credit us with having gotten it. Okay. But honestly, I'm not in it for that. I'm in it for what's it's not just the credit. I always give the example of how the movie Spotlight.
Okay.
Well, the truth is that story did not start at the Globe. The Boston Phoenix, Kristen Lombardi, actually, who in the time since has been nominated for a Pulitzer Prize for other work, she wrote 8 stories about the Catholic priest sex abuse scandal before the Globe wrote one word. I think there's one line about it in the movie. Now, my point, listen, I wasn't even at the Phoenix then. I'm not here to complain about that. It's not my bone to pick. My point is that when we forget about the people at that level who do it, sometimes, they disappear. We hear a lot of people talk about local journalism and the importance of it. But when you make the mistake of comparing the local journalism we do to what the Globe does, it's like comparing, the Globe's owned by the owner of the Red Sox.
Okay.
And, we're working class people who, don't always even pull a check, but we do it for the love. You know what I mean?
what has been your favorite story you have covered in music and in local politics? I'm gonna do three: music,
Like
local politics.
ever?
Huh?
Ever?
Okay, you can do. Okay, so I can say your few moments that like whatever comes to the top of your head. But like music, anything politics, like if you were covering a race and something crazy happened, and wait, music, and restaurant. Have you ever been to a restaurant? Because I've seen the posting like I forgot what it's called, like the food section, and they wanted you to cover their food and it was nasty. You had to make a fake face or anything like that. Because this is lunch is over, so I'm definitely asking.
Lunch is over.
What you like? To
All
do,
right.
but.
So, well, oh God, so many. It's kind of funny. I'm like sitting here. I should just pick a press pass.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is nothing. I got like millions of them. But I can. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna give one of my favorite things ever, actually, because I got a product, which is right here. So you remember something called RaffleCon? You ever heard of this?
No, but that disk drive, I remember that.
So this is what the swag came in. How cool is that? And these are my notes, I guess. So this is 2010 at MIT, okay?
Okay. Oh,
and this was the world's first, and I think there were maybe 3, but definitely 2 RaffleCons. This was a meme conference. And every meme.
Oh, I had to think about. I'm like a meme. I'm all thinking hard about what a meme. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay.
So this was the meme culture, okay? Like memes were just breaking out. So like things that happened here were like a huge fight between like OG meme board people yelling at the cheeseburger guy, and like. But here's the thing. Here's why it's one of my favorite things ever. I got to hang out with Double Rainbow Guy, Scumbag Steve, Antoine Dodson was there.
Oh this is a throwback. You said, wow.
You name the person from the internet at that time, and they were in the same place at one time. And yeah, a lot of people were there for the, kind of just the shock nature of it. But it was one of the most amazing experiences. I actually spent 2 days with all of those people who, I find it corny when people say, he's a real person too. Of course they are, but they also have like really nice carpets at their house. They don't know what life is like for the rest of us. A lot of memes, on the other hand, people like this, they got caught in it, so it's really interesting. It was really interesting to see their journey. But, I go on and on. I got, I have to, one of my favorite stories, I got a prop of my own, like now is I followed, I have a big story out now. If you go to the Dig, it's the most viewed story. It'll take you a week to read it. It's 14,000 words, but it's about the state police in Massachusetts, but it's about 2 state troopers in particular, one white, one black, who grew up together. And the black cop basically got his career ruined over absolute nonsense, over nothing. And we retraced the whole thing. And the white cop failed his way to the top and ripped off his own union and still got to keep his job. And he's actually now facing prison time. That's Dana Pullman. But it's been a roller coaster ride, that one. And I have to give you a good music story. So let's do a Wu-Tang one. So I wrote the I was fortunate enough. I've been very blessed to get to redo. I wrote the liner note. I've done a lot of books with Wu-Tang members, including the liner notes for the reissue of Only Built for Cuban Links with Raekwon.
Oh shit!
In that process, I took, the book is basically, going over every single, and also I've done this with other members of Wu-Tang and other artists too. It's like the anniversary issues, and we go over. I did this with, actually, I could kind of show you everything here. I've done these with Cypress Hill, and this one here.
Quite a collection.
This is Iron Man. This is a big, full one I did with Genius on Liquid Swords, and that's actually a full chess set that pulls out. That's one with Doom. I didn't do that one, but that one's awesome. That's a, if you could see that, that's a.
Oh my gosh! Look at the little hand. What's it? Oh my goodness! The green. I can't think of his name. They was trending for a little bit. Yoda.
Oh yeah, that's a real one. That's from 19.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and then over there, that skull, that's Cypress Hill. I did that reissue of the original Cypress Hill self-titled album with them.
Wow.
So the one I was going to show you is, so what I did was I, as part of my project with Raekwon, I took every single mention of food in the entire
Raekwon Bistro. That's so cute. Well, sorry,
every mention of food on the entire album of Only Built for Cuban Links, and Alfredo Rico Dimas designed it.
Yep.
And it's an actual menu with every single thing.
Butter. Wow. French for the. Oh, that's so much. Okay. They got the drink menu. That is
so it's every mention of food on the entire album, then split up maniacally, like by me, yours truly.
Wow.
And this is the only one that has ever existed.
That's crazy.
Because actually, I should put it in plastic.
Okay, so I didn't want to be that overprotective person. I was definitely going to say that to you. I was like, laminated sometimes is cool, but I'm like, what if you want to take it out? But
yeah, so basically, so that's one of my favorite. But really, so like that story basically. Then the only time it's ever been used is Raekwon used it for like a promo video for the thing.
You should sign it next time, the group or anybody.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna divert it because my co-host there, all essential workers there at work real quick. Then I want to bring it back in because I'm gonna ask you some questions about the Mayoral race. But this is Lunch is Over. What do you like to eat for lunch if you do have a chance to get for lunch? And if you don't have a chance to get slow down, I'll be trying to say it fast. If you don't have a chance to get to eat lunch, what would you want to be eating?
Yeah, I am one of those. Yes, I'm a lunch eater, not always a breakfast eater. But I am like one of those people who scoops a jar of peanut butter throughout the day.
Okay, no problem with that.
Jif. I don't like the natural stuff. I like the old fashioned Jif. Have you ever tried that stuff? You ever tried like the hippie peanut butter?
I went to school in Pennsylvania. Yes.
So yeah.
I'm about to throw up.
Do you like the real stuff or no?
No. It's
okay.
It's so raw and.
I don't get it. It's like I feel like when you can't, like, you're not supposed to give like a horse peanut butter. That's how I feel.
Give me the processed.
Yeah, any day, right? So I do that. I'm also just a big sandwich person. I'm one of those people who like a dumb sitcom dad who thinks his sandwiches are the best sandwiches in the world. I really do take a lot of pride. I'm a kind of like more of a meat folder, whereas my partner is a meat kind of like squisher. So that's a debate in my house.
I never thought about food like that. Like I'm like, which one am I? It depends on how it's made. Sometimes I like my burger squished with everything. I'm a
thin sliced cold cut person.
Okay, yeah. Me too, actually, yeah. I don't like a stuffed sandwich unless I'm really hungry, and then I like to put chips in and everything. But
I'm a chips on person as well.
Okay,
absolutely.
So since you cover various things, a pressing topic right now to me that I wanted to ask. Did you know there's like 6 people running for mayor right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your overall? It doesn't have to be about the person at all, but like, what are your overall thoughts about the mayoral race? Before you came on, I was just discussing how, number one, you basically can't please everybody. That's just like a given. Number 2, my question, I think for us as artists, as writers, that we should be asking them, like, what are you all going to do differently than any other mayoral race with a city flooded with, like, I always focus on artists. So like, with a city flooded with artists, what are you going to do to help us and get stuff back on, like, back moving? Mm-hmm. So if you have any thoughts.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts.
With the state, like the topic, I want to share your website and everything like that too. So like, that can go a long way, whether it comes like criminal justice and how we're handling the system, but there's people just hopping in because
this is it. So this is like, I mean, this is critical. I covered the last mayoral race. I actually wrote like something like 38 columns every week for a bunch of papers that became a book. So and that's a much different race than this one. You know, the first thing is, you know, first, I don't want anybody to take my comments as like cold. I just happen to know a lot of the numbers. And the first reality I think a lot of people have to understand here is that you have to look at who votes in Boston and to question, is that still the case?
Right.
But you know, if people think that, you know, listen, and first let me preface this by saying, like, I'm a progressive, like all the things that a lot of the progressive candidates want, that's what I want. Okay. Right. And I think a lot of that stuff can be had. I think the real question is, how do you talk to Hyde Park, Roslindale, those places in particular? South Boston, I don't think it's going to be what it was, but although we'll see, and we can talk about these places individually. My point is, you know, politics is not woke sport. It's a numbers game. Mm-hmm. So we can not like the way people think in all those places all we want, but they vote.
Right.
You know, people always wonder, how did Rob Ford, the crack smoking mayor of Toronto, get reelected? It was very simple. He basically disabled trains and supported commuters, people who drove, white people in the suburbs.
He catered to his
that were in
right.
Toronto proper. Okay, we have basically the same system here. Mm-hmm. All right, now does that mean I think that like someone Michelle Wu can? Of course, she has support in all those places. I happen to know that her chief of staff is from Hyde Park. So I think that we just have to really see who is voting, and then we can talk about this election, right? Okay. And I think that's what we actually have a great article coming out next week about how youth engagement and who's really going to be involved. And so when I talk about this, you know, I don't say it as a partisan in any direction. In fact, when I say Southeast not a powerhouse, I think that's a good thing for anybody progressive, because I think a lot of the young spoiled shits who live there don't vote. I don't think that they're involved or civic minded at all. And I don't think that's a good thing in general, but I think in this case, let's keep it that way. You know, I mean, because, you know, your people who threw rocks at school buses in Southie in the 1970s, hate them, right? But they voted like, you know, they voted, every one of them in every house. So we have to see who's in play. Now, with that said, the candidates, that's going to be interesting too, you know, and it already is. And I just want to, since this is kind of like a thing I've been on for like a day or so, I just think education's got to be a huge thing.
Bring back the civic engagement in schools and everywhere across the board.
Yeah, yes. I think education, like the topic though, like of
okay.
No, because I think as a reporter, I think we've just fallen down on this. It's like we forget. This is huge. I mean, Marty Walsh, I don't want to hate on the guy any more than I'm about to in his goodbye issue, but nevertheless.
Oh my God.
But no, really.
I'll be posting my picture soon. I'm just letting everybody know.
I mean, this is a guy who is going to be the Secretary of Labor and who was the head of labor in Boston before he was mayor, and you know, when he was state rep, and you know, from the trades. And I mean, look at Madison. Is Madison Park something that we want to hold up as an example to the rest of the country? Maybe the students. I volunteer there. I happen to know the students are fantastic there, but those facilities, what a joke. I mean, they had even, and listen, it's not Walsh's problem alone. I mean, they had like what they have call it headmaster there, 4 headmasters, and like
during a time, during like a small short time.
So it's just, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I was agreeing. I was like, during a small shorter time, they had the.
Anyway, I'm going on and on, but education. I think that's going to be a big one, and I think that it's something where we're going to see, we can get rid of these labels like progressive and everything. Somebody's going to have some kind of bold proposal for how to really. I mean, it's Boston. This is an embarrassment. Boston public schools, and it's always tough to say. I know how hard the teachers work, and I know that a lot of the kids do well. I also know that even nationally that they do fair, but we all know who's losing out, who's not getting this education they need. And then we also know what a lot of these buildings look like. And I'll also say the reason I'm so fired up is I can't believe that these middle schools, they're just, they're coming and they're closing down middle schools.
The middle schools look like when I went to middle school, like that's how the middle schools look like the middle schools when I was still at middle school. Like, so, I think, and obviously some things like that have to be done all the time, but, from time to time, but at the same, also, those are communities, those are, so in a failing broken, in a broken system, some of the only things that are, that people have is like kind of the continuity of going, knowing the school and the teachers there.
And I just hate to see those kind of things broken up. And, middle schools are difficult enough. Middle school is a difficult enough time.
Right.
When you
trust me. All right. So I'm going to digress. What motivated you to just keep going with all this work, or who keeps you motivated? Is there the partner or somebody in the background, or you just keep seeing artists or people in the city and just like what makes you keep doing Dig Boston every day?
Well, first I do, there's two partners, Jason and John.
Jason
Pramis, who is not behind the scenes. He's another editor and out and about, does a lot in the Somerville initiative. Also with our nonprofit, the Boston Institute for Nonprofit Journalism. John is the one behind the scenes. So, motivation, but really more that, I also recommend to anyone who has like a creative endeavor or anything, everybody wants to be everyone wants to hold the microphone, right? But there have to be people to do other things. Like for me, I get like paralyzing anxiety to deal with any paperwork or a bank or anything like that. I just wanted, and I'm not that spoiled. I'll do some of my responsible stuff, but like John does a lot, web stuff, all these kinds of things, this is why, Dorchester Art Project, everybody contributes in different, capacity.
Just the art. I don't have my hoodie on. I'm horrible. I should have had that. But I got my own hoodie. I got my Boston Guy next hoodie on. So
but so it's like, so that's it. But also, of course, the motivation is that simple. It's the community and it's all the reporters that we work with. And I know it sounds corny, but we show and prove. We work with more than 100 media makers last year in different ways: photographers, videographers, writers, reporters, researchers, interns who do get paid for their articles. So, I think I've done the national stuff. I've written for national publications. I kind of, I'm not against it. I'm 41. It's not like I don't have, hopefully I got more time to do whatever I want. But right now, this is like motivating me. And it's not like I try not to have like a complex about it. But the truth is that we do have a lot on our back. We are cutting a lot of checks for a lot of independent reporters. I wish that we had them all on staff. I wish it was possible. It's not, but I do know that the couple $100 here and there helps pay the rent, helps get some groceries, and as importantly, keeps people in the game, right? Because we're always hearing that journalism, we hear that from New York Times, stuff like that. And that's true. But at the same time, I'm dealing on a different level. I'm dealing with somebody who works like crazy at a restaurant and they want to do that article for us, right? Oh, I'm gonna answer your food question too. They want to do that article for us, but if we can't give them a couple $100 to make it worth their while to not fall asleep the second they get home from their shift, that's an important thing. So volunteer work is fine. That's cool. I don't really work with volunteers a lot. Dig former ownership did not always pay everyone and shit and had a bad reputation for it. And we worked very hard to change that. We've started the nonprofit that budgets. But at the same time, I respect volunteer organization stuff. Here, we just try to do it like that where, there's not a lot, but we try to be equitable.
All right. No, I love it. And this is why I wanted to shed light though, because like some people probably just see it or they'll just hit you up like write about me. But it's just like, do y'all know? Like, let's get to the background. Like, let's just I just like the network. How about that before we just like flood people these days?
Yeah.
And there's stories like this, like you don't know why people are doing what they're doing. And again, I'm just like, I just admire people from afar because it's just like it's a lot, and I know it's a lot. So definitely want to acknowledge that. But yes, about the food question. Have you ever been to a restaurant and it was crazy? That's what
I'm gonna
or anything good or anything like that.
Yeah, no. I've definitely been gotten to do some. I mean, because that's the thing about being a writer. You don't get there are perks, right? So you're not paid a lot for the most part. There are obviously reporters who make a ton of money and are on TV all the time and teach their own. For me, it's like I've always enjoyed kind of what it is. So we have a lot of like. Sometimes like press junkets or like a new restaurants will open or something like that. And one time, and I don't really do a lot of those things. I've always been like more of a serious reporter. And, in my whole position, the dig stuff, because if we're writing about something that was given to us for free, we're going to disclose it, unlike a lot of other places. But this was years ago. I forget who I was even working for at the time. And it was like the opportunity came along that the new casino had just opened down at MGM. and down at Foxwoods, the MGM at Foxwoods.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I was like, I need this. I was like beaten up and they brought us down like in a limo. Long story short, I had like a steak the size of like a football with Paulie D was the DJ and he ate with us.
Oh, you took wow, he was a DJ there. My friend lives in Norwich, Connecticut, and that was like his residence.
Yeah. So it was like it goes from like the it was like I was like just so like my life at that point was like covering protests and every night was like pandemonium. And next thing you know, it's like
I'm a celebrity.
I'm eating like steak with the Jersey Shore. So that was definitely I'm kind of like a gavo and I'll eat just about anything. We like to anybody give us tips on. We always love that like like the empanada that somebody sells in the back. There used to be a store across from Grove Hall. I mean, actually, it's probably still there, like a convenience store. And it's not like it's sketchy. It's legit. It's just that their food thing happens to be in the back. So you have to like walk to the back of the convenience store. Oh, it's like on the corner near where Touch used to be. Anyway.
Which side of Grove Hall? Grove Hall.
Across the street from Grove Hall.
Okay, so where
across Blue Hill Ave. Across Blue Hill Ave.
You know where the post office is at, or by Bank of America?
Like Caddy Corner, like so near. It's like it's just a regular convenience store. But anyway, it's got like this, like they got some food stuff in the back, and you'd be like empanadas in the back, so you'd have to like go there, be like, yo, could I get So they didn't mean for it like that. But anyway, if anybody's out there and something like that, that's what we love. That's the kind of stuff. We're all I don't care if somebody's been in business. Sometimes we'll look at the new kid on the block too, but if there's something going on or somebody who's doing something really cool, we like to think sure, we're citywide, actually multiple cities, but we still as local as we can get, we're into that. If we can send 100 200 warm bodies to your restaurant during the pandemic to spend $10 to $30 each, that's great.
Right now we're in the middle of like the Black Restaurant Challenge, and I've been going to different places. Granted, I've been going to a lot of restaurants as it is, but my favorite so far is 50 Kitchen in Fields Corner and Boss Burger. Boss Burger, like a number one customer there.
Where's Boss Burger?
Boss Burger is directly across from. Oh, now I'm gonna do awkward. I should have posted this video before. Antonio's. Right. So it's like now we
So what to get there? What am I getting there?
You can get crispy chickens. They have it's like a semi fast food, but it's a little bit healthier. There's smoothies. Oh, that's like the number one thing. Let me go healthy wise.
I'll be in tomorrow. Beautiful.
Okay, there's smoothies. You can get a nice smoothie for $5.10. And you can add whatever you want to it. And they're not charging you 75 cents or $1 per fruit to add extra juice or anything like that. Like you can get a strawberry peach mango. Don't ask me how I know because I'm there every day. But I love waffle fries, especially when they're well done. So they gotta go with waffle fries. But 50K Kitchen, if you like cornbread, they honey fry their cornbread, and that it tastes so delicious.
Not only do I'm making my own this morning.
See,
I make like my own like cornbread pancakes, and then for breakfast, and then I use those to make like I don't call it an arepa, but
we gotta hang out in person. Nobody's ever said that to me.
You gotta get creative. I mean, I'm cooking 3 meals. It's like, come on.
And it tastes so good though. Like I feel like the Jiffy pancake is so much fluffier. Like it's thicker.
I grew up with it. I know. A little buttermilk if you have it though.
Oh, we're gonna hang out. Look at
that. The instructions on the side of that box are not right. You just got to put more fatty stuff in.
Extra stuff, right? Yep. Is there anything that you want Spark FM online lunch is over to know about you?
I mean, I just think I don't know. I'm just trying to do my thing. I think I would definitely say if you're interested in like doing journalism, learning journalism, I know it kind of seems like out of reach. I hope it doesn't seem that way. I recommend we do some trainings through our Somerville News Garden. So you can check that out at bingeonline.org, BINJ.
Really
Institute for Nonprofit Journalism.
You said BINJ.
Yeah, BINJonline.org. So and you just follow that newsletter there. But also also as helpful is, you probably have a community, no matter where you are, there's a community media center near you. If you're in Boston, it's in Eggleston Square. If you're in Cambridge, it's in Central Square. If you're in Somerville, it's in Union Square. If you're in Malden, it's in Malden Square. I think it's called Malden Square. But it's right there. So, but basically, there's a lot. There's more access than there ever was. And of course, listen, you could do media right on your own. But I would definitely like to just see people, whether it's on their own with some training or whatever, just doing, journalism stuff like you're doing, interviewing people, other stuff, going out there, just doing, reporting on everything, whether it's the pandemic, arts, you name it. I think. Let's see.